know we're in for a treat because Teisha's doing a teleconference this weekend, and we are going to be her test audience. Rockstar, come on down.
Alex Haley wrote the book Roots. It was a story that traced his family's history from Africa in 1750 for 117 years all the way to Tennessee. This monumental 885-page book was the best hardback seller of U.S. publishing history. And it also helped America to redefine our definition of history as well. But that grand success did not come easy. Becoming a writer was a very laborious and difficult journey for Alex Haley. As I was reading his story, I gleaned some tips for birthing your dreams, and I want to share them with you today. Now, whether you've had a baby or you just live vicariously through someone else who has, I'm sure you can appreciate my metaphor still of birthing your dreams. And my tip number one is do not abort your dreams. There have been many, many women who found themselves pregnant, and because of their circumstances, their situations, they decided to abort their baby. You also may have decided to abort your dream. Once a dream is planted in you, a desire to do something grand or big, you may look around at your circumstances and situations and you may decide it's too big. I could never accomplish that. I don't have the education, I don't have the background, I don't have the knowledge, I don't know the people to make this happen. And you may decide to abort your dream. Don't do that. All you have to do is keep focused, keep working, keep networking, keep learning, keep going after it. You will be surprised at the natural things that may take place to help you and propel you forward. For Alex Haley, he wrote 7 nights a week, every single night for 8 years before he sold his first article. Before he sold his first article. And whenever he was offered a job, he refused to accept it. He said, no, I must write. I am a writer. He did his part. When you want to birth a dream, make sure that you're in position to do your part. Don't look at your circumstances and situations. Tip number 2 for birthing your dreams. You must have regular doctor visits. I have birthed 5 children, and I can tell you, you never get used to those uncomfortable, imposing visits to the doctor. But they are very important because they remind you of the sensitive nature of birthing. They help to encourage you when things are going well. You know you can do this. And when things look a little off kilter, you realize that there are some adjustments that you can make. It's very important to have those doctor visits. When you are birthing a dream, the same thing. You will also have to have doctor visits. A doctor visit would be considered something like going back to school, going to seminars, maybe a business coach, going to conferences, seminars, reading books, taking classes, whatever it may be for you. You have to extend yourself and reach out to people who can encourage you, to experts who have been there and done that. You must surround yourself with encouragement. You must find people who can help to redirect you when things are a little off kilter for you as well. Regular doctor visits. Tip number 3, enjoy the pregnancy. I've heard so many women complain about their pregnancy that I decided that I would not complain. You know, when you're pregnant, you are a walking, living, breathing miracle, and you should enjoy that. Now, granted, your esophagus is being eaten alive by your stomach acid and your feet are the size of cantaloupes, but you're still a miracle nonetheless. And so because of that, you need to keep that in mind. You need to keep in mind that I'm a miracle is taking place, I have no reason to complain. And I decided that I would not complain. I would just watch the miracle unfold in my body. When you are birthing a business, make a decision to enjoy the journey. You're going to become successful. And so therefore, you may as well watch the unfolding, participate in it fully, become the journey, make a decision. Alex Haley was standing on a friend's yacht, and he was contemplating jumping overboard. He was so depressed and suicidal. This book that he thought would only take 3 years had taken 12. And as I read the fact that he was contemplating suicide on his friend's yacht, my thought was, dude, you had a friend who had a yacht? And how difficult could life be? If I was in the midst of a struggle and I had the ability to go and cruise on a friend's yacht, I could just really clear my head. But we all can become blinded by our own perceived hardships. And so that's the reason why you have to make a decision to enjoy the journey, no matter how rocky the road may be. Make a decision. Stay grateful. Look for the tiny things to be happy about. Keep a grateful heart. And finally, remember that when you're at your darkest hour, and when things seem like it's not going to happen, when it seems like nothing is happening, that is when the dream is about to come forth. If you've ever birthed a baby, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. You may have been in labor for days. And you get to a point where you decide, that's it, this is enough, I'm tired. I remember with all 5 births getting to that point, this last one in particular, I was sitting in the birthing tub and I just had this really clear understanding. I don't need a baby. I thought it was, you literally lose your mind when you're in labor for a certain period of time. And I remember thinking, I have 4 children at home. I don't need this one. And I got up to leave, and I explained to my midwife, I'm going home. That's not necessary. And thank God for her. She's a woman of God who she understands the transitions of labor, and she didn't try to talk me out of it. She said, well, you can go home, just have a seat for a minute, get back in the water, and let me handle some paperwork. And then she engaged my husband and myself in some dialogue. And sure enough, within just a couple of minutes, the nothing's happening turned into something grand. And it was no longer about me birthing a baby. It was the baby's turn to do her job, and she birthed herself through me. For Alex Haley, he spent 12 years, every day and every night, every waking moment, he said, he spent writing or researching for the book Roots. 9 years after he started, he was $100,000 in debt. His transportation between the US, London, and West Africa caused him to be $30,000 in debt just in travel expenses alone. But even though he was depressed and suicidal, it was time for that dream to come forth. And when it decided to birth itself through him, it catapulted him. It moved him out of the way and catapulted him to a place that he couldn't even imagine. He became a millionaire. He won the Pulitzer Prize. Roots was turned into a TV series, and it set records that had never been achieved before. It changed American history. Over 500 countries and organizations honored and awarded him because of his work. And so it's the same thing for your dream. Your dream may take forever and it may be difficult, but there's a certain point when it's no longer about you birthing that dream. That dream will come through you. It will be time and will come forth and catapult you to where you cannot even imagine.